Okay, we've all been there, right? You're in a kickoff meeting, the energy is electric, the whiteboard is just overflowing with incredible ideas, and the whole team is ready to go change the world. But then, fast forward a few weeks, maybe a few months, and all that momentum is just gone. The project has stalled out. What on earth happened?
It's such a common problem, and it's incredibly frustrating. You know you have the right people in the room, you've got that creative spark, you might even have a really detailed plan. So why does the execution just seem to fall flat so often? Are we all missing some crucial piece of the puzzle?
Well, here's the thing. More often than not, the problem isn't that the ideas were bad. Not at all. The real breakdown happens in that messy, tricky transition from creative, chaotic brainstorming to structured, actionable steps. We have a huge gap in our process.
And this slide right here really gets to the heart of it. See, for numerical data, spreadsheets, metrics, all that analytical stuff, we have a well-established toolkit. We know exactly what to do. But what about the verbal data, all those ideas, opinions, and bits of feedback from our meetings? Well, it turns out there's a specific toolkit for that too, one that, let's be honest, most of us were never taught how to use.
This is where the new 7 quality control tools come in. Think of them as a set of methods designed specifically to bring order and, some much-needed clarity to that messy, chaotic world of ideas.
And just so you know, these aren't some new age fad that just popped up. They were actually developed way back in the 70s in Japan. A committee of experts got together and realized that while they were masters at analyzing numbers, they didn't have a systematic way to handle all the verbal stuff that drives strategic planning. So, you know what they did? They built one from the ground up.
So how does this actually work in practice? Let's say you're starting with a giant, messy pile of brainstorm notes on sticky pads. The very first step is to create some order out of that chaos. And that is the job of our first tool, the Affinity Diagram.
You can think of it as the ultimate decluttering tool for your team's brain. You take all the individual thoughts, all the facts, all the opinions, and you just start grouping them together based on their natural relationships or their affinity for one another. Simple, right?
Let's use a real-world example. Imagine the problem is, why are students not performing well? The initial brainstorm probably looks something like this, just a chaotic cloud of ideas. You've got new staff, wrong part, late delivery, lack of training. It's just all over the place. I mean, where do you even begin to tackle this mess?
And boom! This is the magic of the Affinity Diagram. By grouping those scattered thoughts, you create instant clarity. Suddenly, new staff and lack of training are clearly staffing issues. Late delivery and wrong part get filed under supply chain problems. Just like that, the chaos gets organized into a clear, understandable map of your problem areas.
Okay, so now we have these nice, clean categories. But organizing is really just the first step. To make any real change, we have to find the root cause of the problem, not just slap a Band-Aid on the symptoms. And for that, we need to dig a little deeper with our second tool, the why analysis.
Now, the absolute key to this technique is that it's not about finding someone to blame. It's not a witch hunt. It's about objectively understanding why a process is failing so you can actually fix it for good. The goal here is to shift the focus from who did it to why did it happen.
You've probably heard this classic example. So the problem, my car won't start. You ask, well, why? The battery's dead. Okay, but just getting a new battery is a temporary patch. So you ask again, why is the battery dead? Turns out the alternator isn't working. Okay, why isn't it working? The belt is broken. We're getting closer. Why was the belt broken? Because it was old and was never replaced. One last time. Why? Because the car wasn't on a regular maintenance schedule. And there it is. That is the root cause. You haven't just fixed a symptom, you've now fixed the entire system.
All right, so we've organized our thoughts and we found the root cause. Awesome. But an insight without action is, well, it's pretty useless. So how do we actually map out the path forward? For the last tool in our quick tour, let's look at how to build a concrete plan using something called the tree diagram.
The tree diagram is brilliant because it translates your big picture solution into detailed, manageable steps. Your main goal is the trunk of the tree. The big strategies you'll use to get there, those are the main branches. And all the individual tasks that need to get done, they become the smaller branches. It visually breaks down what feels like an overwhelming goal into a series of achievable actions for the whole team to see.
So we've just sampled 3 of the 7 tools in this really powerful kit. But let's zoom out for a second. Why does investing time in this kind of structured thinking actually matter? What's the real-world payoff?
It really just boils down to this. When you have a clear, structured plan that's built from well-organized ideas, the results are totally tangible. You get a higher quality outcome because you've actually addressed the root causes, not just the symptoms. You get lower costs because you're not wasting time on rework and pointless effort, and you get it all done faster with a shorter lead time.
Here's a cool way to think about it. Your standard analytical tools, the number crunching stuff, they're great for about 90% of your problems, the ones you can easily measure. But it's that final 10%, those messy, complex, human-centric challenges that cause the biggest headaches. And that's exactly where this toolkit for ideas becomes absolutely essential.
So I want you to think about your own work, that project that's kind of stuck in the mud right now, or that big strategic question that your team keeps wrestling with. This is the toolkit that was designed for exactly that kind of thing. So the only question left is, what messy problem are you going to solve first?